He's practicing.
Everybody rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Westgard.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Before we start, I had a call from a citizen the other night. He wanted me to convey to the council and anybody that was sitting here that happened to him. Last week we changed the aggregate in the filters at the water treatment station. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but we did. 5 o'clock, the guy calls me up and says I have no water. So called Scott, got a hold of Dean. Dean was there in 15 minutes, and evidently within 20 minutes they had diagnosed the water softener was bad. So the guy called me at a meeting later and he wanted me to tell me that Dean had done an exceptional job. He got there, diagnosed it, and he wanted the council to know that he had done a good job. So, and I would take it. I didn't use his name, but if you ask me, I'll tell you who it was. Anyway, we have public forum. Anybody for that, or you want to wait until the resolution, you're welcome to wait. Everybody will be given a chance. Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. Additions or corrections? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Moller.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Boltman. Stankin.
Yes.
Okay, we have 2 building permits. Both have been approved by Eric.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
I'll make it.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Stankin.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Okay, we have 2 fence permits. Is he here? Or Bella? They've both been signed by Eric. They're both approved.
Yeah, they are.
Motion.
Any questions on them before we would proceed?
We have the permits. Motion to approve.
I'll make it.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Stankin.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Okay, city administrator report.
Couple things first about Outlot 20. Just to note that the city is now the owner of Outlot 20. The property has changed hands. We are now the owner of that again. So we would look at what our next steps would be with that property. Ultimately, thinking about how we would dispose of the property to put it back into private hands again. But next step, I think the council had talked about is cleaning that up and looking for a little bit of guidance about exactly what you would like done. And that really would be: are we going to remove all of the trees, or are we just is there any trees that we would like to leave there, or do you just want it gently graded for the constant slope across the entire lot?
Yes, a lot of it has to do with what we plan on doing with the property. If the people that are interested give us some sort of ideas, and can just see how that would develop that into a possibility of cleaning it up completely, or it all depends upon what they want to bring in there.
I know that just that the issue had been brought up with the council before about wanting to make sure that it was cleaned up here this spring. We can at least maintain it then for during the summer.
I think we got to make it so we can move the thing because it looks terrible down there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Get all that junk out of there,
The
the
metal.
metal and tree stumps or whatever.
And leave whatever trees are there.
Trees are fine, guys. Only.
Yeah,
Just hold on.
whoever,
Yeah,
whoever buys it might want to leave some.
yeah, they might. We get a price from Healy.
I'll get a couple prices.
A couple. All right.
Would basically be clean up, clean up, get all of the
metal.
any of the metal and stuff out of there, and get it in such a shape that we can continue to maintain it.
Is there any of Larry's buildings that should go? We should talk to him, or
I can talk to them, see if they're
over there.
Okay, next issue that I had listed here was what we call marketing, but this would be an opportunity for for Lakeview to participate in something that would be completely brand new to us. We've never had this opportunity like this before. It would be advertising in Site Selector magazine. Pardon me. So the Site Selector magazine is a publication really that large businesses and executives would be the audience for this publication, and we would have the opportunity to advertise in a section pertaining to RAGBRAI. So they're doing a large expanded story about Iowa and RAGBRAI, and then the communities that passing through several of these communities would have the opportunity to advertise in this. Again, the notion being economic development, get your name out there to all of these companies who would read this type of magazine. We had a webinar with them about the opportunities there, and those were listed on page 4, 5, and then 6 of the packet. Basically, what we'd be looking at, the suggestion would be that we would be at 2/3 of a page. Is that what it is? Be a third of a page vertical ad, and the cost would be $3,500 for that.
In their ad rates, it says 2,500.
But then I noted the wrong one because the price we were looking at was $3,500.
That'd be a half a page.
Yeah.
Connie, that was a half a page on one side, wasn't it?
Yeah, one side. I think was it a half or a third?
He gave us several
It's
things there.
$3,500, which one was it?
So that's half.
The half
Half
is
page.
35.
Yeah, general placement half page.
Is that gonna come out of the community club fund, or where's this coming out of?
It'd be proposed to come out of hotel motel money.
That's what it was designated to do years ago, pay for marketing.
Is it a one-time publication?
It's a monthly publication. It's a one-time opportunity for us, really. We would not normally advertise in this, you know.
Kind of steep, $3,500 for
Not really.
a RAGBRAI.
Not at all.
Jane, is that a high price?
No.
No. Who's the publisher and what's the circulation?
It's 40,000.
40,000 on the publication. Excuse me, on the circulation. And again, the title of it is Site Selector magazine. So
And that's the publisher's name?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not sure who Jane, but I can send it to you.
oh, okay. No, that's a good price.
Yeah, that's a
Good
very good
price.
price.
Then what would you like to do with this? We would propose that we would do it.
I'll make that motion.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Stankin,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Train,
No,
Beckman,
Yes.
Goldman.
Yes.
Thank you. Just a couple things. Sac County League, the regular monthly meeting be April 13th, that Thursday, April 13th. Location is yet to be announced. Don't know where it's going to be yet. And the annual dinner meeting of Western Iowa Advantage, which is our regional economic development group. And that will be held on Wednesday, April 19th, and this is at 6 p.m. in Oroville. So Western Iowa Advantage is a multi-county regional marketing group where they do this annual meeting, and I know several folks have gone to this in the past. I'd suggest everybody from the mayor and council certainly are welcome to attend.
Isn't Brandy giving us free admission?
No, yeah, it's a freebie. Yep.
What time's the one on the 13th?
The regular time would be 6:30 social time.
Or we just don't know.
NEMA host, but they have not determined where it's going to be.
Just drive around the town.
There's only about 3 places it could go.
That is it on my stuff.
Okay. We're gonna open up the public
Wait a
hearing.
minute.
Oh.
I'd like to make a request to put on the agenda for the next council meeting an employee performance evaluation.
We can't, information on employees has to be in a closed session.
Well,
We can't drag this
if they
on.
request a closed session, but,
But just you and Scott line up together, how's that?
okay.
Because we can't discuss employees in open meetings. We're gonna open the public hearing on the proposed budget for 2023-24. Scott's gonna get the highlights. Any public opinion?
Yeah, so for the council, the information is included in your packet. Beginning on page 8, that information on page 8 was the notice that was published in the paper that compares the total budget numbers this year versus the reestimate for the current year and the actual for the year prior, so you can see where we've been on that. Okay, in general, the property tax levy is proposed to generate 2% more dollars for the general fund this year than had been previous year. And in total then, the levy would go up 23 cents. Levy goes up 23 cents, our total levy is $7.49. Yeah, which actually is still just a very low levy. Maximum general fund levy is 8.10, and generally most communities do levy at that 8.10 plus some other taxes too. So relative advantage on that for us. Page 9 shows revenues and expenditures by fund, and I know we've been over this several times. And then page 10 shows the projected fund balances. By fund, it would tell you what the projected fund balance is at the end of this current year, as well as then the ending fund balance for the end of the proposed budget year. Page 11 and 12 is the capital improvements plan for this year. Everything that's listed on page 11 and 12 is included in the budget documents. And we get to page 13, that would be the resolution. That's what actually adopts the tax rate, and that would be the action for the city council to approve that resolution.
Does the public have any input? Public meeting is closed. Resolution 2316, approving the budget.
I make a motion to approve 2316.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Holtman,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to resolution 2317. That's one that everybody's been here for, but Scott's gonna give an explanation. And any comment from the public is fine, but we'd really like to go to the microphone, and hopefully it's a civil conversation. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, both ways. Try not to interrupt everybody. Scott's gonna give a quick talk to you before we start.
Just that there are really three things that are pending on the agenda tonight that relate to this issue. First thing that would be proposed is a resolution from the city council to affirm the financial commitment to the community center project. Second thing on the agenda would be a resolution as it pertains to the issuing debt for that water main project. Okay, and again, the two are tied with this notion about using TIF funds. So that the proposal then would be that we would utilize TIF funds for this water main project right now, pass this resolution 23-18, which reaffirms the city's rights to issue debt for that water main project in the future. And then the third point is that we are now to the point in the water main project where we got to be paying the bill. So we have a pay estimate on the agenda tonight. Total pay estimate is $477,360. So first of all, this resolution affirming the financial commitment to the Lakeview Community Center project. So we wrote this up to give a little recap of the financial commitment that had been made by the city. And this financial commitment was that the city would commit $500,000 in TIF funding to the community center project, contingent upon the Hometown Pride Committee raising the additional needed funds through grants and private fundraising. So that is actually how the minutes read from that meeting when it was adopted. So this resolution then would have language to reaffirm the city's commitment to provide $500,000 in TIF funds. Okay, and then it also would resolve that the city would assure that funds sufficient to fulfill the remaining portion of the $500,000 commitment will be available in the TIF fund and committed to the community center project when funds for blank percent of the estimated construction cost of $1,602,815 have been secured. So the concept there being is that we'll ask the council about this percentage, and I'm going to suggest that that percentage would be 90%. When 90% of the funds are raised for the project, that this would assure that the needed funds are committed to be reimbursed to the TIF account. So with that again, so we look at 90% of that. Here's some numbers for that the committee has used on their most recent grant application to CAT. And when they asked for a grant amount from the CAT fund, and if that grant were awarded, the shortfall or the gap yet to be financed would be $204,000. Okay, so if we would look at that and say that these funds are committed when 90% of the $1.6 million has been raised, basically where you have a gap right now, it's $204,000. When that gap becomes $160,000, the remaining portion, or the funds, would be reimbursed into the TIF account. So again, that's my suggestion. If you fill in that blank, it'd be 90%. We can have that discussion, but this really does what it can to have the council reaffirm their commitment to the financial commitment to the project, and assure that the funds would be in the TIF account when they would be needed for the construction of the community center.
Jim, did you want to speak?
Jim Melanopoulos, 530 Sunset Drive, Lakeview. Got a copy of the resolution that we're discussing right here. Scott hit on some of the high points. Got 2 minutes I need here. October 19th, 2020, the City Council Lakeview pledged to commit TIF funding to Community Center project if the volunteers would raise additional needed funds. People in this room have donated toward this project. People in this room have pledged donations toward that project. According to Webster's dictionary, a pledge is, and I quote, to commit to an obligation by prior agreement, a binding promise or agreement to do or undertake. The City Council, October 19, 2020, committed these funds, therefore you made a pledge. Yet a few weeks ago, you made a new resolution to overturn that original pledge by redirecting the current TIF funding that was voted down. Now you come up with another resolution, and by the way, the last sentence of this new resolution repeals any former resolutions or commitments. So how can we trust you not to come up with another resolution in the future which would repeal this one, which repeals the original pledge? With this history, I believe you'll just come up with future roadblocks to a city-owned community center. We all know this is just another attempt by 2 council members who oppose the idea of a city-owned community center. This council should not repeal your original pledge and just put out new resolutions or new change orders whenever you feel like it. At the start of this meeting, every person in this room stood up, faced that flag, put their hand in the heart and said these words: I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. We know what the word pledge means, and I want this city council to honor theirs. Thank
Jim, anybody else? Gary?
Back again.
By the way, there'll be a list to sign up for Simply Simple volunteers at the door.
I volunteer to sit.
know, it's interesting, we have a little giggle about volunteering, but, you know, at the heart of all of the good things that happen in this community, a lot of them are the backbone of volunteers, in our community. And so much we've done in this community, to help make us grow, like the Sip and Sample, like the Stone Pier concerts, is all done by volunteers who have trusted our city leadership to help us make those events happen and move forward. Unfortunately, we're here again for a resolution that essentially moves the goalpost for the project that we've been working on for 6 years. When I was here 2 weeks ago, I reminded this council of the 8 times that the community center project has been on the agenda for you to vote on an item that helped move it forward. Whether that was granting the TIF funds, which was in October, or it was an engineering piece of the project, et cetera, et cetera. So 8 times this council has known and been aware and had the opportunity to reflect on the project, and the vote was cast in favor of the community center moving forward. So this resolution, what it does, it compromises the project, which is greatly supported by these donors that are here tonight, as well as numerous grants that we've received locally and also from the state. Do you want to be a council that compromises free money? It's going somewhere. That has come to Lakeview. That is essentially what a vote in support of this resolution does. It compromises the work that has already been done. This resolution misrepresents that original resolution that was passed in October of 2020, committing the $500,000 in TIF funds. It's going to be hard to trust a council that moves the goalposts again and again with these projects that you've already had on your agendas and up for discussion for quite some time. This water main project for Iveco is not new, but yet at the last minute, at the 11th hour, this idea is presented to utilize the TIF funds that have already been earmarked for our project to basically save your butts to pay for that. What was the original plan? Because we, as a Hometown Pride Committee, we've had our plan, and we've stuck to our plan. We've written the grants, we've submitted them. We've done the community events to keep people up to date. We have done the fundraising. We have held up our end of the agreement. We expect that you hold up your end of the agreement as well. We've not wavered. You've made it tougher. To our city council members here tonight have tried to make this more difficult, but we have stayed the course. We have moved forward, and we've continued to get progress done with this project. And it's because of these wonderful folks in this room tonight that greatly support and want this amenity for our community. It is not our responsibility as the Hometown Pride Committee to offer a rescue for the water main project. You all need to figure that out. We've had our plan, we've worked it, and it's going well. You're also jeopardizing, if you vote in favor of this resolution, which I think is complete nonsense, and that 90%, Scott, where did that come from?
Just a practical number, Mary.
Based on what? Because there was zero discussion with the Hometown Pride Committee about any percentage.
Certainly.
Even
Well,
after
Just
meeting.
a practical number about being able to proceed with the project.
Well, we
That's
certainly
the point.
am disappointed that there was no discussion with the Hometown Pride Committee about 90%.
And you very well could have, we were there.
Have all of our numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah, but no discussion, no
This is a suggestion.
communication. But yet, our volunteer committee, we have stuck by our plan and we've moved forward. And now here you are, the 11th hour, and if you want to jeopardize the CAT grant, we have to put in there what the city is committing. It is a requirement of that grant. That has already been out, and we've done the presentation in Des Moines to the Economic Development Corporation. So you'll jeopardize that. You don't want to jeopardize grants that are coming to our community. They've helped so many different projects. So I encourage our vote tonight to be against this resolution, and remember that the reputation of our community is on the line. We need to be able to trust our council.
please. Yep, go ahead. No, you stay right here.
You know, I read this, and I looked at it and I thought, we are guaranteeing the committee that $500,000. And I guess, when you talk, Larry, about a trust thing moving the goalposts, I'm not sure who you're talking about, because when this project first started, I've never moved my goalposts.
This
There's
resolution.
two other councilmen on here that have the same goalposts that we started with at the beginning. So we have 3 councilmen here that haven't moved their goalposts.
Agreed. And
Okay,
we
even
appreciate
looking at this resolution, it's not moving our goalposts.
It does when
It's
you require,
guaranteeing,
when you require the 90%, that was not part of the original commitment. The requirement was that we raise the $200,000, which we have done and exceeded. That was the original agreement.
so,
Just with that, though, I mean, the language that you noted in the resolution, Mary, that's the resolution, that is the language from the minutes of the meeting, when it was,
That we would raise $200,000.
now, that the additional funds would be secure. It did not have $200,000.
But it did not jeopardize the TIF earmark for our project, which is what essentially happens. You need that money now. And we're close to the end of our goal as well, so,
I guess if you're close to the end of your goal,
yeah.
and you know you're gonna get that $500,000 because it says it, I mean,
We can't
to me,
trust that.
it's,
We can't trust that.
We do not trust you.
doesn't know.
we have 3 votes on the council here that would vote, wouldn't change this. To me, this is guaranteeing you that you get that
You can
$500,000.
guarantee it, but then take out the percentage of money raised, that's not part of the original agreement. And to,
So
to
what
knock
difference
off
is it gonna
a
make
re-
if it's
we should-
90% or 20%
Because
or
we should
whatever?
stick to the original resolution. That is in all of the grants that we have applied for. All of that wording is in our, every single document that we have shared with donors, in our grants, etc.
Okay,
So now
so,
saying, we're only gonna get this money if we hit this 90%, we've already committed to finish raising the fundraising. We've already
okay,
committed to doing that. Why
So-
change the resolution? You don't need to. All of that same, all the language that you need is in that original resolution. There's no need to redo it.
As a grant writer, I don't appreciate this. I write grants, I pride myself on my integrity, and I put in there that the city has said 500. Now I look like a liar. So I wanna know what the legal part is for me. Cause I have checked on it. I have an attorney looking into it. And you know, we wanna play games.
Jim?
Jim Jensen, 223 Denison Beach Drive. Thanks for inviting me out again tonight during the national championship game. I appreciate it. Yeah, kind of in response to you, we've got 3 council members that are for it, and so you're promising that to us. What happens hypothetically when we have an election coming up in another year, right? Are you up? Are you up? And you're up? So what happens if one of those is gone, and now we've got another person who's against the council? You're not guaranteeing us anything, because we can just rewrite a new resolution that takes it all away. So it's already been promised, and the grants are already there, and the money has been raised by the considerable amount of the people that are sitting here. We've raised that money already, and it's been guaranteed already. So taking it away and saying, no, we do promise you down the line that it's still gonna be there, to me, that's not worth anything. If we have a different council, then you guys just decide something different. Change your mind again. And what does that do to the community, and what does that do to our grant writers, as you say, and what does that do to the people that have donated all that money? I just don't understand why we would have to change anything if it's already written that way. If you want to borrow against it, so be it, but when we're ready for it, it should be there to give it back, not if we raise enough money again to show something to it. Thank you. You were supposed to play that after I was done. I just think that it was written that way, and it was said that way, and every time we nick away from it, it takes away from the integrity of the council. and the integrity of the resolution, and
So
now
if we
change
use
it and
this
make it way
resolution and don't put anything in the percentage, because,
then you're just borrowing the money from there until we need it, as long as it's
Still
guaranteed we're
change
gonna have
that
it back.
resolution
so that
a year from
guarantees
now.
it, and we put zero.
Well, that's what we're saying, why change anything? It's,
Why
why
do
do
you
you
need
need to
to-
borrow
because-
from that? The question is, why didn't you guys come up with a plan for the water treatment plan, or for the water thing on your own without having to borrow from the council money?
Well, we were gonna do that.
But this was a better
We're
idea.
gonna get a loan, a bank loan to do that. At three, I don't know, what is it? 3.5%. Figure that up over a year's time.
Yeah, you can't
Figure
talk to me
that up
about,
over
no,
a
you
year's
can't
time.
talk
What
to me
is
about
that?
the savings on
About
things, because we do a lot of
21,000.
things in this town where we do it and then we don't follow through on it. We've scoped different water lines, we put up all these little stop signs, or these little speed signs. It's not in the interest of saving money, in my opinion. If it
Speed signs
was,
were a grant.
what's that?
Speed signs were a grant, I think.
Oh, somebody wrote a grant?
One of them was?
So,
So it's not just about the money, that's not a horrible thing, carry it, I run a business, I don't wanna run out of debt, debt's a good thing to have, it shows you grow. I just don't understand why now, when you knew about this, so why are we're changing the direction of all these things in the city and trying to borrow from one to take away from the other, and then all these promises, again, it wouldn't be a promise, because this is how many resolutions have we done about this already? So that means the resolution doesn't mean anything until we write a new resolution. And that, in my opinion, isn't right. If it's resolved and it's done, and that's what it should be that way. The people in this town, and not just this town, we vote, we're the voters here, but again, drive around the lake and count how many tax dollars are people that donated to the community center, have donated to Stone Pier, that show up on Sip and Sample Day and work at the thing. Those are the outside of town people that don't get a vote, that wanna know when the community center is going because they put money towards it. I still think it's a good idea to take money away from one thing and use it for another on the promise that until we write a new resolution, that you're gonna get it back, we promise you. Like, until you change, we've seen it too many times that you're writing up a new resolution of it, Dale wants to say you don't just change it and write a new one and say, we're not gonna do that now.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
In your statement you just made, you said if you wanna borrow against it, do it, so be it, correct? That's essentially what we're doing. If you wanna put 0% in there, I'm fine with 0%. And back to the 3 council members that he said, I'm gonna say 4, because I'm not going to reverse the TIF money. Even though I'm against the community center being owned by the city, I would never go back and reverse what was committed for TIF money. I would not, and I just said it.
That's good to hear.
And I heard it. But all I'm trying to do here is save taxpayer money by using the funds we have in the bank until the community center needs it. Then we borrow the money against the water main project for the community center. That's, it's plain and simple.
Feels like there's gotta be a way to make sure that it's guaranteed to come back.
I think that's what this is supposed to be.
And that's my concern, is that we don't just write another one another day. That's the concern.
There's no intent of that. I have no
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, Dale, I understand.
There's no intent
There's no
of
intent.
that. All I'm simply
Well,
trying
that's
to
why
do
we're your voice and to make
is
sure
save
that you understand that we
taxpayers
know.
money.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I brought this up two meetings ago, last meeting, come up and talk to John and Scott after the last meeting, said, all we're trying to do is save taxpayer money. The comment from the mayor was, we pissed away 20 grand, worse ways than that. But we don't want to piss away 20 grand, knowing we're gonna piss it away.
Then maybe you should have planned differently.
Maybe you should have planned.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm also, I'm the fifth one. I am not here to change any agreement.
And don't, and don't.
But you talk about change, this Hometown Pride, how many times have they changed their plans? Now, there's no overhead doors in it, there's no overhang, on it, there's no
We
nothing.
had this stupid little thing called COVID
To
a while back.
qualify
We're
for
the
this,
screwed up
excuse me, I'm talking.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
I thought you had
We
given
have an
up your
opportunity
floor.
for both of us to say things, okay?
Let's go one at a time so we can all hear,
Because of
please.
COVID and a number of other things. A lot of things have affected what things cost. And we're still trying to do what we can do to keep those prices down so that we can get it done and then we can build it. We're not changing it because we're trying to do something underhanded to you. We're trying to keep it within the dollar amount so that we can get it built. And then when it starts flowing, then we can do other things.
And then when it's built, you get the shell of a building on there,
That you will own, the city will own, proper?
that will, the city will own.
Yeah, okay, so this sounds like a
Who's
good
gonna end
deal
up
for you.
paying for the rest of this, the interior finish, the.
No, it's gonna
the
have an
whole-
interior finish. Have you read it? It's gonna have an, what do you think, we're just building the Morton building?
There's no specs on it.
There's no,
There is absolutely no specs on it.
Yes.
And it's
worked
an
with
estimate.
engineers. It's in the minutes, you've approved it 8 different times, read your minutes.
I'm gonna make a motion, we approve this resolution.
Second.
So,
Need a little clarification on that before we proceed then.
We just need the percentage.
Percentage.
I'm picking a number, I don't care.
Pick a number. We have a number.
Better not be 90.
We need a number, which number do you want?
25.
25.
Put zero. I'm
Yeah, they-
happy, I'm gonna stick to my,
is there something we can put in there that says we can't even change that resolution again?
That it's final?
A resolution can always be changed by the majority
Then we
vote.
want a contract.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
So do we, do you need to amend that to 0% or?
Whatever it's gonna be.
Just put in the number, that's the motion.
Don't pass, don't
Just, we will remove the section pertaining to the percentage.
Okay, there'll be a 0%. We have a motion and a second, correct?
We do.
Roll call.
Excuse me. Frank,
yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
thank you.
No.
Muller?
No.
No.
Wow.
Yes. Just on a happy note, when the phone rang and everybody laughed, I noticed everybody did, so, thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
We'll be back with another resolution in 2 weeks to repeal the resolution, to repeal the other resolution.
Put all the money
Okay, resolution 2318 is related to the financing of the,
Yep, this would be the one about, it just assures that in the future we'd be able to, issue this debt for the water main project.
I make a motion to approve.
Second,
roll call.
Beckman,
Yes.
Frank,
yes.
Muller,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Okay, we have a pay estimate
We do, pay estimate number 1 then on this water main
for 477.
project, yep, starts on page 18, total on that's 477,360, so just the note about what we're paying for it. When you look on page 18, that would be payment for the total amount of work that's been done, okay? When you look on page 19, we are paying for all of the materials that are stored, okay? So that is the, how the two of the amounts come together to show what that is. And then we do retain 5%, then the total on this 477,360.75.
So that's what the 5% is, the 501 and 502, add them to it.
Yep.
I make a motion, we pay that.
Second,
I'll second,
roll call.
Beckman.
Yes.
Frank.
yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Boltman.
So we have to do the EDA reimbursement?
Yeah, I don't have paperwork on that, but I'm gonna ask the council to go ahead and approve this. We would, and submit the EDA reimbursement request as soon as it's available.
Motion to approve,
Motion.
second,
What's this on?
For our
Economic
Yeah, it's how we get the money back from
So
the
we get the
grant.
money back.
Okay, yeah, second,
roll call.
Beckman.
Yes.
Frank.
yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2319 is forming the RAGBRAI committee officially.
Yes, so, on page 21 is a, excuse me. Page 21 is a resolution that would form the RAGBRAI committee as an official city committee. This is done largely for insurance reasons, and our insurance carrier does cover these RAGBRAI committees. They've done it before, and would they cover us for just the cost of an additional committee. It's about $25. So you see the people who are named on the committee, as well as the co-chairs, secretary, and treasurer. And this committee would go into existence as a city committee immediately, and would go out of existence then on December 31st of '23. And so that really, that forms the committee. The other thing that I think is important to discuss deals with finances of the committee. That it will be proposed then that basically this RAGRAI committee is going to run their own finances, and they would just run it as a little checkbook. And the past couple times that we've overnighted RAGRAI, that's how things ran. They just ran with the checkbook, and that ran fine. So, a couple things then, that there'd be no financial commitment on behalf of the city. Then, certainly, city staff is working with the committee, and there will be lots of public works time and everything that's involved with this. Talked with the chief about the additional police officers, which I think we would incorporate into the budget, but we'd incorporate outside officers coming in, but the use of our own staff would be covered by the city. So with that though, that it would run as a little checkbook, and so I have the $10,000 commitment. I have the check from RAGRAI, and that would go to the RAGRAI committee, and they would be off and running from there.
So if there's one name to take off here, Connie Asen just resigned from that committee because of the way I voted on the last resolution.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve 2319?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I got a question on the financing and that, like the garbage and all that, road sanitation, will that come out of the 10,000, or will there be partial coming out of the city?
And I don't want to commit everything for the committee, Mike, but the intention would be that, there'd be some additional charges for RUD, and that would be paid by the committee.
Porta potties too.
Porta pots, some of the big ones are porta pots, and then law enforcement and garbage. A lot of those would be signage.
Dress for entertainment or whatever be it, or
whatever they spend it on. So,
and they are raising additional revenues in other ways, and one of the main ones would be through vendor fees.
So on these committees, if the people are going to change or whatever, is that an issue with us, or do we need the names actually listed, or is it just the fact that we have the committees?
Just that we're going to have a committee. So this would be the committee. And the folks who are remaining there would be listed. That would be the committee. Okay. There will be additional people that come on to work for RAGRAI. There'll be a lot of volunteers.
We're still covered
and
with that.
They'd still be covered with that. They would just be subcommittee volunteers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Thank you.
Yes.
Becklin.
Yes.
Frank.
yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Walton.
Yes.
Okay, we have a consideration of a commercial dock permit on 105 East Shore Drive. We have the interested parties here tonight. Mr. Shipley, would you like to?
Sure. Well, first of all, nice to meet you all, and thanks for your time. I'm glad I'm not on that side of it. I have been on council for 10 years in my city. What's that? No, I have my own council in Elkhart that I've been on for 10 years, and I've had plenty of these meetings, so thank you for your time. It's a thankless job that you do, and it's appreciated. So, again, Brian Shipley, 103 East Shore Drive. Just a little bit about myself. My family built our house because my wife has been coming to this lake for like the last 40 years. They used to rent Paul Alish's cabin that he had next to his house, and they tore it down 2 years ago, and then we just happened to finish our house last year, so the family tradition continued, and so now we have more family that would like to get involved, so we're kind of looking at building a duplex on the lot next to our house. I talked to Jeff and asked him, like, well, what happens with the commercial dock, and he said, well, it goes away. So I know there are a few families, my wife is from Dunlap, there's a few families that have boats on that dock, and so I'm looking, I'm trying to create an opportunity to keep some of those docks on the lake. Some will go away because I have my own crafts and it can only have 11 with 110 feet. But we're just looking to potentially buy Jeff's commercial dock business and move it 30 feet closer to my house. I think some of the questions were, well, what if somebody else wants a commercial dock? And I would say that this is an already existing business, so then you're not creating anything new, you're just moving it. And I have a lot in between two commercial docks already, so it really isn't that far of a stretch. So, and then in addition, the DNR will require that you approve it every 5 years. I talked to Wendy, you just basically have to say it's okay for us to have a commercial dock on a residential lot, like you're already doing, so. But anyway, if you have questions for me, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them, or Jeff here too, so.
Just a couple things for the council, and I don't know if I gave you one of those, Dave, or not, but, this highlighted sheet that was at your seat tonight, this is just a one page out of their administrative code regarding docks. Just highlighted a couple things, and that is that maximum number of hoists permitted by this commercial dock, 1 hoist or slip for every 10 feet of shoreline, okay? So Mr. Shipley's lot that he owns right now is 60 feet, would be acquiring potentially another lot that's 50 feet.
Which actually gives me 10 more feet than what Jeff has right now. And I've also talked with Jim at Blackhawk. He puts my regular dock in. I'm a good neighbor to Jim. He parks his hoist like right in between our lots, or his what do you call that? His large.
His barge, yeah.
His barge. There you go. He parks his barge there. I'm a good neighbor to him. We're gonna make it work for him. I'm gonna work with Jeff and figure out exactly how we're gonna put it in, but you know, it's gonna work for everybody. There won't be any issues on that side of things in any case.
And the other thing that I highlighted on the sheet is just why would the city be involved with something like this? So we historically have not been involved with anything regarding the issuance of DNR docks that come off of private land. But just the idea here is that the property that this land would come off of, it is zoned as residential property, and prior, at least the use of those lots where it come off before was commercial and tied to the restaurant. So now it certainly is residential, and if it's going to be a commercial dock in a residential zone, it would require approval from the city council. So it does. What we would do is just simply send in the minutes showing approval from the city council, and that's the only action that would be taken. The other thing that I wrote down there at the bottom, though, that the city could choose to adopt regulations that are more restrictive than the DNRs, if you would like to. Okay, you can have regulations that are more restrictive. You cannot have regulations that are less restrictive. Because I know there's been some discussion about this, and not so much about this case in particular. It's basically pre-existing, and it'll move a few feet. But if there's any impact for potential similar docks on other sites around the lake in a residential zone.
And is it?
I actually asked Scott about that. I'm not opposed to this by any means whatsoever, because it is already existing, and we got a couple other ones that are existing, but I don't want to open up a can of worms by the city doing this on residential property for future, and put ourselves in a situation where we've got commercial docks popping up all over in residential areas. We've got, I believe there's 4 docks, if I count right, existing today.
And if we do this, are we opening a can of worms there?
I think you might want to have some regulation about when it would be permissible. You know, the limiting factor on this right now is just simply that 10 foot of shoreline per dock.
For what?
Excuse me. Yeah, for what? Yeah, excuse me.
I just think that maybe we can, as a council, come up with some guidelines or regulations that we don't have this happening in the future. This one's already, this is only my opinion, this one's already existing, so nothing's changing, it's already there, except the ownership is changing.
And it's going to a residential area.
But it's already in a residential area.
Yeah.
Because it's already zoned residential, it's already in a current residential area. Because the commercial dock got applied for back when it was commercial property, and that's how it got allowed, and then the lots got changed to residential in front of there. So you got where Paul Alish lives, that's residential area as well. You've got over on Provo's side where them apartments are, that's residential as well. And then you got Harbor Drive, that's residential as well. Them are already pre-existing. I would say we could write a clause that we have the current current ones that are in place, and
Godfather did.
Yeah, grandfather did.
yeah, grandfather did, and then, so we don't have hypothetically Roger Swaby, who lives next to Denison Beach Drive, come and say, hey, I want to put a commercial dock in there, or over on the East Shore Drive where them empty lots are, that homeowner could say, well, I'm gonna let John Westergaard put a dock out there and rent it out. I don't live there, I don't have nothing, no, their neighbors ain't gonna bother me, you know. I don't think we want that popping up, even though we need dock space. If I lived next to them, I wouldn't want that. That's why I think we need to put something in place, approving this and moving forward, grandfather this type of one, but that's only my opinion. Does that make sense?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Does.
So Scott can draw something up for regulations moving forward. Just put it
That
black
we'd
and
have to
white.
vote in as an ordinance and.
Yeah, it's against no commercial dock in residential space unless it's already grandfathered in, and list the 4 existing ones and then move forward. And I think that's the only one we have to double check.
We can approve this and you can move on with your guys' stuff, whatever you're gonna do. Is there a motion to approve this? Commercial dock? Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Owner,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Wolfman.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
We wanna make sure they got this right. When we talk about regulations, future regulations about limiting, so are you looking at some limiting factors, or are we just gonna say the ones that are the current ones are grandfathered in, and there's no new commercial docks in town?
On residential,
Right.
city limits.
All right, very good.
Thank you, Jeff, Stacy, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time,
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, Blackhawk Rentals lease.
Yeah, just so the lease, the proposed lease here on page 23, just the same lease agreement that we have had in the past. The change being monthly rental fee. So it's written that with the rental fee every month of $75. Okay, this is proposed to be a one-year lease. The term of the lease would be May 1st through October 31st. And then, if you jump down a couple bullets after that, the lessee would pay for the months of May through October if the building is still there. If the building would be moved away, then there would be no charge, and the lease would terminate.
Is that how the old lease that expired in October read, that it was for a 12-month lease, or?
It's the same wording.
Same wording?
Same wording. That this was the term of the lease was the same as it was listed here. Okay, but then it also said you choose to leave if you would choose to leave the building, there you just pay the monthly fee.
So was you paying for 12 months, or was you paying for the
I was
5?
paying by the month, but I wrote you a check for the whole year.
For
For the,
Yeah,
For the full 12 months?
yeah,
Okay.
well, I think for your
well, 6 months.
for the
The
amount.
first year.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
the
And
time
then
that
the
it
second year, I paid.
was operating. Yeah, so it'd just be a
12
question
months.
of.
I paid for 12 months the second year.
Yeah, so the building has sat there throughout this winter, and then it'd be having the rental rate for that building during that time, which, as you know, based on the old lease, which would have expired, has been $20. If it's anything in regards to this new lease, it's $75.
Okay. And I think it come to our attention that you were supposed to be paying electrical, and you haven't got billed for any electrical?
I said that I was gonna have, the first year I was told that I didn't use $30 worth of electric the whole time.
Yeah.
And then they said that I was gonna pay a commercial monthly or whatever, and I don't even know what that amount is.
And that's true, it's supposed to be billed, so I mean, if it hasn't been, well,
It helped.
we can sure
Been
start.
blocks on that.
I honestly even forgot about it, I just read this last week, I swear.
Yeah.
But then I went back and looked at it again, because then at one time I thought they said it'd be at $30 a month, but that's not wrote in there that way, it just says commercial. So, on
But
stuff.
it, you know, if you charge this a commercial electric customer, the base fee is, you know,
Probably
$20
don't meet the
whatever.
minimum anyway.
I used $30 the whole year, the first year.
$30. Costs us more to put the meter there.
Well, the meter I think was already there
Oh.
when we changed our building to match your meter. We put the 220 in or whatever it was.
By the way, I get comments from the public all the time, they think that rental thing down there is really cool. We stayed ahead years ago.
A lot of work, it's hard to find
What?
anybody to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the?
So we need a motion to move forward.
Yes, we need a motion to approve the lease.
I do wanna, I guess, Garen, clarify. So the building sat there through these winter months, what's the rental rate during the winter months this year? Was it $20 or was it $75?
We just changed it now. Hard to go back, isn't it?
Just wanna confirm that with the council.
Yep.
Sounds all right to me.
I'll make
20.
a motion to approve it also.
Second.
Okay, Hobart,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Wolfman, Spanky.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Okay, we're not gonna do the,
Motion to adjourn.
second?
Yep.
Meeting adjourned.
Street sweeper is coming up on